There you go, shine like a diamond. And if you want to shine like a diamond, I think the best place that you should go is on Wednesday to the Asian Productivity Workshop meeting, and which is organized by the Asian Productivity Organization. And to talk more on that, we have with us Mr. Mario Amano, who's the Secretary-General of the Asian Productivity Organization. Very good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Mario Amano.
Yes.
Very good morning to
Very good morning.
Thank you for joining Rise and Shine and going to share your thoughts.
It's my pleasure.
All right, starting things off, Asian Productivity Organization, if you can just elaborate on what it really means.
Yes, it's in fact international organization. Very small, regional international organization created in 1961 with the original member of 8 countries. Sri Lanka joined only 5 years after the creation in 1966, and our mission is to enhance the productivity throughout the Asian countries.
All right, so there you go. That is what. So your visit to Sri Lanka this time is especially based on the workshop that you all are going to have.
We regularly have 2 major sort of meetings. One is the governing body meeting, and the other is a workshop meeting. The workshop meeting is a little complicated name, but basically we agree among the 20 member countries on the program we conduct during the forthcoming 2 years, and that is what we are here.
And the workshop meetings will be held from tomorrow onwards, is that
tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and Thursday, 3 days.
3 days in a row, that's right.
And coming back to the topic of your organization, you did mention that you have 20 countries, that is in the Asian region?
Yes, in fact, this is a little wider Asia, spanning from Iran in the west to Fiji in the Pacific Ocean.
All right. So the total number, you said it's an international organization.
It is.
So if you can tell the base of the internet, how many countries in total do you have?
Yes, how many countries in total?
We have 20 countries and regions, yes.
And it's done regionally, like say it's Asia has one, then Europe has one.
Well, interestingly, there is no other international organization specialized in the productivity enhancement in other areas like Africa, Europe, or Latin America. But it so happened that we have Asian Productivity Organization. And there's a bit of history perhaps there, if I may.
Yes.
After the World War II, Japan had a difficult time to restore from the damage and destruction. But fortunately, during the decade of 1950, we were able to restore our economy quite successfully. That is what you may call a miracle of Japanese economic restoration. Now, they thought perhaps this same sort of lessons can be shared by other Asian countries. And I believe that that is the sort of major motivation why we started this international organization in this area.
That is very appreciative. And your role as Secretary-General, what kind of an obligation, what kind of responsibilities you have to make this a very cooperative procedure when it comes to the workshops and every other project?
As many other international organizations, I'm responsible for the whole management of the Secretariat, and therefore it varies from one area to another. But basically, my responsibility is to serve the member countries, and we take care of all these routine works.
That's right. And you cooperatively do various projects and activities. And what is the main target to promote what is this organization made for?
All right. We usually have 140, 50 programs a year. Each of the programs is not that large. Half of them is what we call multinational programs, involving ideally all the member countries, sometimes 6 or 7 selected countries. And then the other half is individual country program. Now, the programs are usually training or observation mission or workshops. But the size is very small, typically 20 people from one participant from each member country, and then conduct 1 week program. So those are the sort of programs that we conduct every year.
That's right. And what kind of initiatives, like
So when you say productive, actually, because what Hiroshi must be asking, when you say productivity, what is the main focus and main angles that you'll be looking at?
Okay, when you produce a certain amount of output, you may put a huge amount of input or small amount of input. Now, of course, it's better and more efficient if you can produce the same amount of output from this smaller amount of input. That's a productivity. So you can call it efficiency as well, but the efficiency of production. Now, it started in the manufacturing area. Typical example is Toyota factory. They are very eager in producing the same amount of cars with less input, less labor, less capital. Then it expanded to agriculture area because you can do the same thing in the agriculture production. These days, people talk about the productivity in the public sector or service sector as well. And you asked me about the focus of the activities. Now, these days, of course, we have three strategic priorities, and one is small and medium enterprises, which is very important throughout the Asian countries. Green productivity is another thing, to make the economy greener. And also, innovation is the third keyword, because any productivity enhancements comes from the innovative technologies. And those are the three areas we strategically put their priority.
That's
so
right.
when you say innovative, like say, does it differ from the country to country that you're looking?
Pardon?
When you talk about innovation, like say, so you do give assistance to people country by country in the region? To do their
usually,
innovation? Or do they come up with their innovation and then...
That's a very important point, because initially perhaps it was easy for the APO to conduct a program to which all the member countries participated. But after that, perhaps the economic situation in each and every country, member country, became a little bit different from each other. So perhaps it's more practical to have 2 or 3 groupings among the member countries, and we plan a program which would suit to a certain group of member countries, and that's how we organize the programs.
And also, I have a small question.
Yes.
There are certain member countries that may not have enough infrastructure to promote the innovations to promote these productivity. So, do you have any sort of initiatives to help them out?
Well,
to assist them? Some sort of program?
Perhaps infrastructure matters, but it's more like about the mindset of the people. For example, our productivity enhancement movement started what they call 5S or Kaizen movement, which each worker in a factory carries in their mind how to make the products more say efficient, or how to produce the same product more efficiently. So, and from their thinking, from their daily operation, some innovative ideas come out. So it's not always say require a huge amount of investment or infrastructure to create innovative technology or ideas.
That is right. I mean, regardless of what country they come from, there are bright ideas hidden everywhere.
Exactly.
So I think this is a very good opportunity to bring them out.
Exactly. Yes.
You also did mention so that obviously when it comes to the economic factors of the countries in this region, you have countries that are quite strongly based on the economy, and then there are countries that who are really struggling to overcome the economic problem. So when it comes to the productivity that they have, is there support being given by the other countries towards these other the low-income countries?
Indeed. I talked about how the organization started, and basically it was Japan who offered some technology or experiences to other countries. And other Asian countries who received it from Japan. It's a kind of one-on-one bilateral relationship. But time changed, and we have more sort of economies in Asia where they have something to share with other countries. So these days, not only Japan, but Korea, perhaps, and Taiwan, Singapore, those countries have something to offer. And other member countries may find it more practical to learn from those countries because they have the experience of development more recently. Japanese development took place in 50s and 60s, which is a little bit historical nowadays. With the modern technology is available now, they find more sort of practical examples in those countries. So this is a kind of peer learning, as we call. We learn from each other. But Sri Lanka has a lot to distribute, to share with other member countries as well, because you have your own advantages. So other countries may find it very interesting, useful to learn from you.
That's very impressive. And as we should know that productivity is a very important concept because it will help us to conserve resources for our future generation and to manipulate the human resources very productively. So do you have any sort of a special message or some sort of an invitation for our Sri Lankan community to give their hand and play a role in this procedure?
For example, Sri Lanka has a very high illiteracy rate. 99% I heard. You have a very low unemployment rate, 4% for example. You have a history of successful economic growth. Throughout the post-independence days, you have 4.5% growth rate average. If you talk about the post-conflict, say 4 or 5 years, you have 7.5%. And all the member countries in Asia would like to know what is the secret about that. So that's how you can, say, contribute to other Asian countries.
So Sri Lanka, obviously it was stated that Sri Lanka is one of the countries that has the lower percentage of unemployment when it comes. So things to take from Sri Lanka in the conference and the workshop that you're starting tomorrow will be the main focus, how Sri Lanka has overcome the unemployment.
Indeed, indeed. Now, ironically, when your unemployment rate is low, you can't depend very much on the new labor force because you already employed 96% of the people. So in that case, in order to bring about the productivity, the growth in national and GNP, you have to depend more on the productivity increase. So that's why the productivity enhancement is very important for Sri Lankan economy.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if we can expand it to the community in our national level, I think.
Yes.
And also what I like about this workshop is that it not only promotes productivity, but it also builds some sort of an international understanding among the member countries. That's something we should have. The international relationships.
That is always very, very important. And that's why we have this kind of, organization.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so far, what are the physical results that you have reaped, the benefits that you have gained so far from this organization? Do you have any sort of remarkable benefits?
Well, that's very difficult to visualize, let's say.
That's right.
But the fact that Asia has always been and will continue to be the point of growth in the world economy tells something, I believe. We have a lot of nice things in common in Asian economies. For example, we are very hardworking and we are serious in improvement. That's what we call Kaizen. And so if we continue this kind of, properties we have, then certainly Asia has a very, very good future. And productivity enhancement movement, I'm sure, has been the source of that kind of success story.
That's right.
All right, coming back to the workshops that you're going to conduct. So who would be conducting these workshops? People from the Asian region?
Basically, this is a rather internal meeting within the APO. And as I said, we have 140 programs a year. Members gather together once a year and then discuss what kind of programs we would like to conduct for the coming 2 years period. Based on that long-term or middle-term plan, we organize programs. Once the programs are agreed on, then at the stage of implementation, through the National Productivity Organization, we invite participants from the industry or business sector.
So when you plan out this, like say you plan it out for a minimum period of 2 years.
We have a biennium budget system. So each 2 years we plan the sort of programs ahead.
And when it comes to the next meeting, say from the past years, when it comes, so is it discussed about whether you all have achieved what you discussed this year, or whether you need to?
That's a very important part. Yes, of course. In order to measure the progress, you have the statistics of productivity, and we also do publish agent productivity data. And if you look into those figures, you can tell which country has been doing very well, which country has yet another sort of area to improve. And judging from that, we can tell perhaps where we should enhance our activities.
That's right. And in the end, what matters is this has to reach out to the people in a global perspective. So I just want to know, how would you manipulate social media and other ICT tools, and how various communication devices, how do you manipulate them to reach out to people and give them this idea?
So far, I talked about the face-to-face programs where we invite people in one country, not always in Tokyo or in Japan, but in Sri Lanka, for example. Sri Lanka has been hosting many programs in the past. But we also have a possibility of expanding our IT technology-based programs that we call e-learning. We already have some video links, and through which we try to do the same. Now, many colleges offer courses where students can subscribe through the internet and their website. So we would like to enhance that part of the program for the forthcoming years, so that we will be able to reach out, let's say, 100,000 people. And not limited to the member countries, but also beyond the boundary of the membership. And that's one thing. I talked about the data book. That is now becoming available through iPhone or any other devices like that. So you can have easy access to the productivity data through the mobile phones.
It's very, very interesting.
That is quite interesting. Thank you so much, Mr. Mano, for taking your time and sharing all this out. And obviously going by the main theme of your organization, making tomorrow better than today.
It is, yes.
All the very best with all your future activities and endeavors, and that is...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
With that, it's time for us to wind up on this segment of the discussion. We'll be back with you the IMED segment on Mondays, as we do usually on Rise and Shine. So till then, stay with us.